I'm delighted to introduce Liz Bryant and George Olivier from the University of Brighton to give us this talk about data collection. Liz is a research fellow in the Centre for Health Research at the University of Brighton. She's the research lead for our Data for Impact project and has worked on it since 2005. Liz is also research lead at Chailey Heritage Clinical Services, part Sussex Community NHS Foundation Trust. George is a principal lecturer in pharmaceutical sciences at the University of Brighton. He lectures in medicinal and pharmaceutical chemistry and has an interest in quality issues surrounding the use of plants when used as medicines. He's a pharmacist by training and for over 20 years has been using electronic methods for learning, teaching and assessment involving the online gathering and interpretation of data. George has also worked on our DfI project and its predecessors since 2005. I've worked with both of them on the project steering group for many years and can assure you, if anybody can tell us why we should do data collection, these two can. I've got to remind you about a Slido. So if you've all got your phones, when you get to slide 7, there will be a vote. Okay, so if you get ready for that. So now I'd like to hand over firstly to George and then Liz.
Thank you, Conference, for inviting us to do our presentation. We were asked to talk about the Data for Impact project. Why should I take part in it? We have a little more than 500 participants at the moment, which as a proportion of your membership is not as high as we'd like it to be. So I'm going to try and persuade you as to why you should be doing it. The question I want to pose is about registration. Why do healthcare practitioners need to be registered? Because in the past, physiotherapists didn't. And many healthcare practitioners didn't have to be registered with a regulator. So why have they introduced that? What is the purpose behind registration? If you look at the websites for the various regulators, so the HCPC, what they are stating, that the word that comes through again and again is standards. We maintain a register and publish it to maintain standards. The registrants must continue to meet the standards for your profession. And they are standards of proficiency, standards of quality of practice. And the bottom line for this is that it's all about consumer protection. We've seen in the press over the years horror stories, probably mainly from medical practitioners, probably because there are more of them than there are the rest of us and other healthcare professionals. Horror stories of medical practitioners misbehaving in one way or another. Happily, most of them are to do with bad behavior rather than competence, but there are quite a number of cases for these. If you put in any of the regulatory authorities, so GMC or GPHC or your own one, and Google it alongside determinations, you'll come to the page of fitness to practice determinations, and you can see what people have or haven't been doing. And it is interesting reading. The government published a white paper in 2007 on the regulation of healthcare professionals. And the white paper was titled Trust, Assurance and Safety, the Regulation of Healthcare Professionals. And they were talking about ensuring that practitioners are up to date, that they are fit to practice, that they are developing and improving on their practice in time, because practice norms change over time. They're also concerned about minimizing competency regression. So a person who qualifies and then does nothing further in terms of keeping up to date, their skill set, their competency set is going to regress. How do they go about ensuring that that doesn't happen? And the mode to do this is through revalidation. And the question behind that is, how do you know that good care is being provided. And the only way you can know that is by putting the onus on professionals to demonstrate that you do meet the requirements for fitness to practice, that you are up to date. And the methods that you do that through are through planning learning events, participatory learning, and you're doing that already. So you've got requirements for re-registration on CPD events, and you have to reflect on that. The revalidation criteria that have been placed on other healthcare professionals include accounts of peer discussion, so reflection with your peers on your own practice, but clinical audit and case reviews. How are you going to do that? You've got to gather evidence of your practice and be able to document that your practice demonstrates fitness to practice, that it is up to date. You're going to require to do reflective accounts, gather feedback from your patients. So what is quality? How would you know the difference between good quality and adequate quality? Because I know if I sign up to go and see my GP, or if I go and see a physiotherapist or whoever it might be, my expectation is that I'm going to get top-rate service. I'm going to get a good quality service from that person. Well, clinical audit is the way forward for this. It's the way to find out if healthcare is being provided in line with accepted standards. Allows for practitioners to know that their service is good, that the service they are providing is doing well, but also allows them to identify where improvements can be made. This is essentially what the DfI project is all about. It's about gathering information so that you can reflect on it and see what you are doing in the context of the national data set. I'm going to ask you to consider a scenario. I'm a pharmacist by training, so a pharmaceutical one immediately comes to mind, but it's sufficiently far from your style of what you are doing to be, I think, a useful analogy. Imagine you've got two production facilities, and they set up at the same time in an identical way, so all of their equipment and everything comes from the same supplier. They're all set up to the same standards. In one production facility, they're producing a batch of painkillers, say. And those painkillers are subjected to a set of tests. So they tested for content, for purity, for impurities, and so on. The other batch produced using originally the identical equipment, but they are not tested. So the question I've got to you is, which batch would you choose between the two? If you were going to choose them and you've got two packets in front of you, you've got one which is heavily tested, the other one isn't, which one are you going to choose? We've got a Slido poll coming here, so if you'd like to look at the options and key in what you think you would choose. Why am I not surprised? You're going to choose the one that has been tested, aren't you? One of the delights of metaphor and analogy is that they are not terribly precise, but they do very often convey the key message really quite clearly. You've all said you've got to go for the one which has been tested. This is what the DfI project is about. You've got the opportunity to input data so that your practice can be assessed against a national data set. You can see where you stand against the national data set. It allows you to look at ways to enhance your practice, to reflect on what you're doing. Now, revalidation hasn't hit the scenes yet. It's not on the agenda for the HCPC as yet, as far as I can see. They had a position statement published in 2010 where they said, well, we are going to sort of think about this. And they haven't really done anything further than that. But the medics went into revalidation in 2012. The nurses went in 2016. The pharmacists are going this year. It seems to be an ongoing process. It is the direction of travel. I'm not a betting man, but if I was, and I had a tenner to put on it that within the next 5 to 10 years, you guys were going to be subject to revalidation, I'd put my money on it, that it's going to come. And when it does, if you've been contributing into this project, it's a clinical audit. You've got the data there on an annual basis to reflect on, to use. It's evidence of your practice. It's going to make your revalidation really quite easy compared to where you would be if you didn't have that access to that data set. Okay, I'm going to hand over to Liz to carry on.
Great. Thanks very much, George. Okay, so I'm just going to run through a bit about the Data for Impact project and the Physio First Quality Assured Practitioner scheme for those of you that are unfamiliar, or for those of you that are familiar, hopefully these might resolve any questions that you have. So the Data for Impact project has evolved from a 13-year collaboration with Physio First and PPF and the University of Brighton, which, as Sandy said, both George and I and Anne Moore have been involved in. And it came out of the Executive Committee of Physio First wanting to develop a standardised data collection system for use within private physiotherapy, which could demonstrate and account for the quality of their clinical services. And the information they wanted to gather was about current practice around patients' demographics, outcomes of care within private physiotherapy. So we started off in 2005 developing a system which was a software-based, computer-based on a CD-ROM at the time. We then led on to 8 snapshot surveys for various different musculoskeletal conditions which were of interest to Physio First at the time. And then we were asked in 2013 to start looking at developing an online system, a shorter online system. And then the DfI project, which we've got running now, was launched in November 2014. So I'll give you an idea of who's involved in the project. George said about 500. It was 549. We've probably gone up to about 555 now, following chats with people yesterday. And so this is for Physio First members who are treating musculoskeletal patients. And as you can see, we've got a quite substantial growing database over the last 12 months of more and more people starting to get involved and to input their data. So we're downloading the data again on Tuesday, and we expect probably to have about 33,000 data sets. So what's involved in the project? First of all, practitioners need to register with ourselves at Brighton University and be asked to input data on their MSK patients that they treat. So type of data is patient details, referral information, diagnosis, treatment details, and outcomes on discharge. At Brighton University, we download and analyse the data 3 times a year, so beginning of January, beginning of May, beginning of September, and we produce anonymised national reports. So for the national report, all the data gets combined and is sent to Physio First in a report, so they can have an idea of the general descriptive stats of what's happening across the UK. And then for practitioners who have input at least 50 patient data sets within the last 12 months, they get an individualised report, which in the report they can see how their data compares to the national data. So how can the project help you with your practice or your professional activity? Well, obviously it provides a means for recording your musculoskeletal practice. So adding on to what George was saying about providing evidence of your audits, allows you to compare your data against the national data set, provides a means for you to benchmark objectively, and some new developments which we're working on this year and we're just launching is the development of linking up patient-recorded outcome measures. So I'll talk further about that in a moment. So how can the DfI project help the profession? So it's providing Physio First with an accurate and up-to-date and in-depth account of the treatment that's being provided by the physiotherapists, private physios across the UK. It's giving Physio First evidence to say what their private physiotherapists can do. So, for example, when we start to now we're getting a lot more data in, we can start to unstack it more and have a look at the data in a bit more detail. So one of the things Physio First wanted us to look at was, okay, for patients who are being treated within 6 weeks of onset of injury, how do their outcomes compare to patients who are not seen until 7 weeks onward. And at the results, as you would probably expect, is that fewer treatments are required for the patients that are seen within 6 weeks. So if you're seen 7 weeks or more, you're 25% more likely to require more treatments. So it's this type of evidence that we can say when we're unstacking the data to back up PhysioFirst's claims of what your private physiotherapy practitioners can or can't do. So it's quite an exciting time for us. We're loving delving down, looking into the data a bit more. So this, and the rich data is also of significant interest to others. So there's other external bodies that are approaching PhysioFirst, such as Medco and through Brian Simpson, who are interested in the data for impact data, specifically for whiplash injuries. So it's providing a good data source for PhysioFirst, certainly. So onto the PhysioFirst Quality Assured Practitioner scheme. And this is what they've developed in collaboration with ourselves at Brighton. So that's with George, myself, and Shemaine Murta at the University of Brighton. And the scheme is designed to evidence quality practice. PhysioFirst made the initial proposals of how we would measure the quality in the scheme. So that was put forward by the R&D subcommittee. Using the data from the national data set. And for us at University of Brighton, being independent organisations, then analysing the data. And the criteria are based on 5 criteria. And these criteria, the 5 criteria are the average number of days between requesting an appointment and the first appointment, average change in the FPS score, so that's a functional, physical and subjective outcome score. That's a score of 1 to 10, which the practitioner in conjunction with the patient fills in at the initial treatment and then on the final treatment. So that's looking at the change in FPS score, average numbers of treatments attended, percentage of patients who achieve their goals, and the percentage of patients who are discharged regularly. So for all of these 5 criteria, then we don't expect you to achieve all 5 criteria. It's great if you can, but realistically, looking at how different practices operate, different practitioners, then you would be required to reach 3 of these criteria to head towards a Quality Assured Practitioner scheme. So to ensure that the criteria are representative of the current practice in the UK, we analyse the data that has just been input over the last 12 months, and that allows the criteria to fluctuate depending on data trends. It's UK-wide representative of practitioners because we've looked at the geographical locations of practitioners that are participating in the DfI project compared to the PhysioFirst membership, which shows that it's representative. And the calculations are based on non-weighted practitioner average. So if you've got one practitioner who's input, say, 6,000 data sets and another one that's only input 60 data sets, their averages are both taken into accord separately. So, for example, the 6,000 data sets isn't going to bias the 60 data sets. So what we want to do is to ensure that all the potential practitioners reach the QAP. So that's why the criteria has been set at reaching a minimum of the 3. And what we're also doing at Brighton is we're undertaking background analysis to have a look at some of the caseload characteristics to ensure that the criteria are independent of caseloads. So on to PROMs, patient-recorded outcome measures. Just touching on this, so this is very important that we get the patient's voice independently, which is an important and valuable aspect towards the QAP scheme going forwards. Practitioners are required to collect PROM data in order to qualify for the PhysioFirst QAP scheme. At present, it doesn't matter which PROM data you're using. So if you're already using a PROM and you're happily using that in your clinics, then please go ahead and keep using it. If you haven't got a particular PROM in mind, then you might want to have a look, and this is just a plugging point for the Brighton musculoskeletal patient-recorded outcome measure, and Chris Merce is involved, and he's here cheering it on. So this is just, it's been tested for validity and reliability, It's just about to get published in Physiotherapy Research International. We developed it at Brighton because we wanted one that was freely available, that was going to be suitable for all MSK conditions. So what we're looking now to go forward is linking the PROM data, so the patient-recorded outcome measure, with the DfI data, and that will strengthen the QAP award. So the BM PROMs, you can see here, can be available, can be used via iPhone or via email. And it's a great step forward for us now this year to looking towards linking the data. So why would I join DfI, other than what George has already said? Those that have practitioners that have been inputting data for a while and have received individualised reports, then almost all of them are saying that the information they're getting in these reports is really useful to them. It's helping to stimulate not only the reports, but participating in the DfI, so collecting the data, is stimulating the reflective practice, it's helping them to decide on what CPD courses they should be going on, it's helping them to provide evidence of their CPD. It's been used for businesses and marketing, so for business management, it's helping, so practices are using it to in discussions and negotiations with their insurers and referral sources, and also in terms of looking at identifying areas of development that might be needed within the practice. Just going to show you a brief video clip now of a couple of practitioners who have been involved in the project.
I don't think it's changed what I do with my patients, but it's made me pay more attention. So when I'm going through the process of entering the data, and I'm thinking about their functional scores, and I'm thinking about how many treatments they've had, it makes me look back over the patients I've had and kind of review where I'm at with people and what have I done. So I suppose it's helped me reflect on my practice, perhaps more actively than I would have done before. It's very nice to be able to say to the patient, actually, I'm taking part in this nationwide study. Here's little me in rural Warwickshire. I can do something that's contributing to a national database of information to be able to look at what we do and how we can do it. This isn't the sort of thing that works with a double-blinded randomised controlled trial, unless I'm going to do sham ultrasound or real ultrasound. But if I want to say what's actually representative of what I do in clinic, of all the things I might use with the patient, then at least I've now got some way of contributing to something I passionately believe in, so that we can see whether we can make a difference. So when that data gets all unstacked, that's, I think, when it gets really exciting.
So those that have become Quality Assured practitioners now, we were asked for some feedback on their views of the QAP scheme and why they became it. And here are some of the quotes. So it offered me a way of really focusing, looking at the effectiveness of my treatments. I wanted to be able to benchmark my practice against my peers and also to stand out against my competitors. This one came up several times with the sole practitioners, the reassurance that I was working well as a practitioner and could prove it to my clients through external audit reports, which were produced by independent bodies, to find out how my practice compares to my peers, to help ensure I'm doing the best for my patients. Another one was a combination of benchmarking my practice, CPD, and to use it as a tool to promote quality physiotherapy to the insurers. And then finally a comment from one of the practitioners saying, I think if practice owners understand the real power of this information and how valuable it is, they will participate more. So just in summary, so the Data for Impact project is commissioned and run by your organisation, so Physio First. It recognises the importance of formal evidence of good practice. It allows us the possibility to generate research questions that can ultimately enhance patient care. It will be invaluable to practitioners when and if revalidation becomes a requirement, and it is certainly ahead of the field. So several people here in the room have been involved in an MSK forum, and within the MSK forum now, people are starting to realise that they need to be collecting standardised data collection, but they're at the very early stages of where they're starting to think, well, what data do we need to collect? So you're certainly Physio First way ahead in the field. So acknowledgements, I'd like to thank, or we would like to thank, all of the private practitioners that are taking their time to input the patient data. This is really crucial for us. And to thank PPF for their support and funding. As I mentioned, we've got 550 plus already signed up and starting to input data. If you would like to get involved, we'd certainly like to have more practitioners on board to give us, obviously, the more data for us, more representation across physiotherapy practice. Then please contact us at physiosurvey@brighton.ac.uk or give us a call. So thank you very much.